All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today is going to be a really great guest episode. Good guy doing some good things for farmers and farm families. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. If you get any value from the show, share it out with the people that you know. The more that you guys do that, the more that this show can grow. We found it's the best way to grow a podcast is word of mouth. And we appreciate all you that do share the show. There's a lot of ways you can get value. If we made you laugh, if you learned something, if you're related to us on something, all we ask is you share it. Another thing you can do to help us out here at Barn Talk is leave a review on Spotify or Apple. The more that you guys do that, the more that this show can grow and also get more credibility. More credible we are, the more guests we can have come to Southeast Iowa to get in the barn and have a great episode with us, great conversation with us. So we appreciate you that do that. We love hearing from you guys. We love hearing your thoughts. So it means the world to us. Last thing you can do to help us out here at Barn Talk is support our direct-to-consumer meat business, Farmer Grade, farmergrade.com. You can always use code BARNTALK to save 10% off your order. And if you own a business or you're part of a business or you got clients and you're a salesperson, corporate gifting is going to be here before you know it, and we'd love to take care of you. We'd love to send 50 boxes out to all your best clients out there, or whatever the number is. We can make it happen. So be thinking ahead and don't procrastinate like we do, because we've done that a few times before.
Have you got boxes already spoken for your employees this year?
I'm not going to let you know yet. I'm going to keep it a secret.
Okay. All right. Yeah, really, it's incredible that we have any credibility.
I know. It is incredible.
Just after the last clip of me talking about crop insurance, I don't know if there's any credibility left. I kind of got raked over the coals on that.
Yeah, you'll have that. I think
it'll be all right, though.
We've had our shoulder, we've gotten broad in our shoulders.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I got broad shoulders and I'm built for high wind, and
all these hate comments just add to it.
Yep, it just strengthens me up. So we're on kind of a run of people from the North Country. So our guest today is from Wisconsin, farms up there, but it's got a really unique story. And we all get on cruise control, and we all like to plan, and we all like to think that we know what we're going to do, but sometimes life just can throw you a real curveball. And our guest today got one of those at a young age and has, adapted, and he has turned the situation that he went through into an opportunity, and he helps a heck of a lot of people in the world of ag. And we're going to talk about not only his own story, but the nonprofit that he works with, and some of the stories, the people they've helped, and what they're trying to do, and how you can help them help others. And should be a great episode. And without any further ado, let's get into it.
Well, we're live. So Jeff Crotwell, thanks for stopping by the barn today. We appreciate you coming. Welcome to Barn Talk.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. First things first, how do people find out what you're up to and what organization you're a part of?
Yeah, I work with Easter Seals, Wisconsin. We have a website. The farm program has a website, so people can go on the website. Has my contact information, all of our staff's information, and they can find out what we're up to. We have a couple YouTube videos that they can see what we do as well.
What's the site? Do you know off the top of your head?
EasterSealsWisconsin.com.
Okay, nice. So you grew up. You're a recovering dairy farmer. I like that.
Right.
So tell us about growing up in Wisconsin and the farm you grew up on, and give us a little background.
Yeah, you bet. I grew up in southwest Wisconsin on a dairy farm. typical family farm.
Yep.
Mom, dad, I have 3 siblings. We milked about 60 cows in a stanchion barn.
Yep.
We did everything the hard way.
Yep.
I was on the farm till I was 18, and I was like, well, I could do something different. This isn't fun. So
Yeah.
I didn't stay on the farm. I left the farm and pursued work in the healthcare field.
Yep.
But mom and dad milked until about 2005, and
Yep.
like many farmers, turned it over to a beef operation, buying feeder cattle,
Yep.
fattening them out, mostly Angus, black Angus.
Yep.
And it's currently, after my dad passed, it's currently being rented out. So my mom lives there. Neighboring farmers rent it out. They have a beautiful automatic robotic milking facility.
Yep.
And they rent it out, and good friends take care of the farm. So.
Yeah, you look at that and go, man, where was that when I was a kid?
Right, right. Yeah, that would have been nice.
What was your favorite chore and least favorite chore as a kid? If you had
Good
to,
Lord.
if you had to think
Well,
back.
I mean, least favorite by far, we baled a million small square bales, it felt like, and we packed the haymow full, and we packed the rented barn haymow full, and then we had a little dish in here and there. We packed that full. It just seemed like that's all we did all summer, and that
Yep.
was by far the least favorite. It felt like it was 1,000,000 degrees in the haymow.
Yep.
Favorite, I don't know. I like the tractor work, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was nice.
Hauled bale or loaded bales all summer, and then hauled bales all winter.
Right, right. Yeah.
So when you started feeding, you were always feeding hay, but so did you have to go haul it back from the furthest away rented sheds first? Is that how that worked?
I
Or
think
did-
so. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And we had maybe cattle dispersed evenly at the shed location. So
Okay.
some of that wasn't quite so bad, I guess. But
Yeah.
you haul it once to take it off the wagon, haul it another time to stack it, haul it to feed it. And
Yeah.
you haul the same bale 4 or 5 times. So
Yeah. So you the youngest, middle, or oldest?
I'm the oldest. Yep.
I'm the oldest.
I'm the
Okay.
oldest,
So the responsibility fell on you. You had to be the.
My siblings would be upset if we shared it pretty equally. We're
Yeah.
all pretty close in age. So my sister's 1 year younger. My brother's a year younger than her. And then 5 years later, we had my other brother. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Did you have forks like that to when you were unloading bales, or did you have a conveyor that you had to
Carry them.
carry them all the way to the back?
We had to carry him all the way to the back. We did
yeah.
everything the hard way.
Yeah.
The hay cradle, there is still a hay cradle in the barn, even though we haven't put a small square bale in there for
Yep.
20 or so years. But yep.
Yeah. I tell the story that, you don't know what you don't know. And like just talking about, you said you did everything the hard way, but when you're a kid, you don't know any better. So it's not so bad. It's ignorance is bliss because you didn't know. And for us here, yeah, we had a set of forks where you'd fork them off the wagon. And then when they came in, you could drop them wherever you wanted. And that job still wasn't any fun. But the first time that a neighbor hired me to help bale when I was probably maybe 12 years old or so, and some of my friends that I grew up with, we went and baled, and we go to the barn, and I go up in the haymow, and hotter than blazes day, and I'm just standing up there, and one of my friends is like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm just waiting for the hay to come. And they're like, you got to get it off the elevator. And that was when I was like, wait, what? Because I was waiting for it to come over and drop. And then I realized, oh, you actually had it better than you thought you did. And I was like, man, this sucks. And I never really enjoyed helping other people after that, but I did have to do that quite a bit. So, yeah, that's the great thing about, I think we were talking about that with Larson's a little bit, is kids don't realize whether times are good or times are bad, because the parents usually do a good job of insulating you from that. And the work is just work. And you don't find out later whether or not you had it good or whether it was the hard way. Right. And so, I guess that's better. It's better to not know. But, so you had, growing up, you're 12, 13, 14 years old, what did you think that your plans were like when you thought about what you're going to do when you grow up? What were your thoughts?
I know my dad wanted me to stay on the farm and things, but like I said, just I didn't know what else was out there.
Yep.
And the grass isn't always greener either. But
Right.
I was like, well, get up early, milk cows, feed cows, clean up after cows, milk cows again, go to bed, do it all over again. That wasn't really fun at 14, 15, and I don't know. I just wanted to do something.
You just
something
wanted to get
different.
off the farm.
I just wanted to get off the
Yep.
farm, and all of my, no one did stay and things, but looking back, there was definitely a lot of positives to it, and
Yeah.
it taught me hard work taught me a lot of stuff, but
Yep.
yeah.
But you had an experience that kind of changed your trajectory a little bit. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So at 16 years old, we had a high moisture corn silo. The corn flew into a roller mill,
Yep.
which cracked it up, and so the cows got the most nutrition from it. And our roller mill, if you didn't clean out the hopper before shutting it off, it would, as powerful as that thing was, it would plug and wouldn't start up the next
Yep.
time. So I had cleaned it out maybe a million times before. Every time before we shut it off, I just kind of took my hand and cleaned out the hopper area and whisked the corn down into the rollers. And one morning, maybe about 5 o'clock in the morning, early, I don't know what happened, but I got a little too close, and it caught the glove and zipped my right hand right into the
Man.
rollers, and smashed, and it was stuck there. And
Yep.
like I said, I couldn't. It happened so fast. Yep.
Were you by yourself?
My dad, my mom, and my sister we were all feeding cows. Yep.
Oh, so luckily.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
God. You're right. Yeah, they were all there. And I think it was my sister who, a few seconds later heard something not being right and came into the feed room and went and got my dad shortly after.
Okay.
So
they get you, so first they got to get your hand out because it's
Right.
wedged,
right.
and then
Yeah, it burned.
probably wrap somebody's shirt around it and head for the hospital.
Right. It didn't hurt at all. I was just in a state of shock. Didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
Didn't even know if it was bad, good. Obviously it wasn't good, but my dad took a pipe wrench and rolled the rollers back out. And I was like, all right, let's take a look. And I took my glove off, and I'll never forget it, November 11th, 1993.
Yep.
Heard the crystals hitting the floor. Was my bone chips. They were just, it was just mush, right? And my mom also vividly was like, all right, let's go. And took me to the house. We were in the car before I knew it. And I think the normal drive was about 30 minutes to Dodge. I think she made it in about 12.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, and I mean, farm accidents, they happen, and I'm just a statistic in that way, I guess. And
how long of a process was the recovery of that? And so was that your like dominant hand for writing and brushing your teeth and combing your hair and all that?
Totally. Yeah. I'm
Yep.
right-handed, totally dominant hand.
Yep.
When it happened, it was right before the basketball season, and like a lot of kids, I thought I was going to be good in basketball, or I thought I was good at basketball, and so I missed that season. So that's what I really remember about. Oh man, this is terrible. But I went to University Hospital in Wisconsin. I was there for a couple weeks. Big part of the problem was that there was corn kind of embedded in the injury site, and did the surgery to kind of clean the wound. They ended up amputating the 2 middle fingers. Kind of were able to put back the pinky finger. My index finger, they were able to put back. I lost the tip of that one, but all in all, it was about 2 weeks. A lot of what they call debreeding, where they took the corn kernels out, and I'll never forget the pain of doing that. And,
I can bet.
Yeah, I think I talked to a therapist a couple years ago, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't do that anymore. we use kind of a different technique." But in the mid '90s, it was, to me, it doesn't seem that long ago, but it was.
So did in a deal like that, did you have people that tell you that you were lucky? that it
Yes.
wasn't worse? And you probably were like, you didn't feel like you were lucky.
At the time, no.
No,
I mean,
I'm-
it was, but in hindsight, I was very lucky that someone was there. My sister was there, saw me pretty soon after.
Right.
And it could have been much worse.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us. As a corn farmer, you can't always be abroad building increased market share, researching new uses, or educating consumers about the over 4,000 products made from corn. That's why Iowa Corn Promotion Board invests Iowa Corn Checkoff dollars in market development, research, and education to ensure a continued demand and promotion for Iowa-grown corn. Iowa Corn Checkoff dollars are used to build global connections that open new markets for Iowa corn and corn-fed products around the world. Investments go towards educating consumers about the best fuel options at the pump, telling the stories of Iowa corn farmers, finding new ways to expand ethanol's market share, and so much more. Thank you for supporting the Iowa Corn Checkoff. Your support benefits not only your family farm, but the entire agricultural community, paving the way for long-term profitability for all Iowa farmers. To learn more about your corn checkoff investments, go to iowacorn.org. Now, let's get back to it. Yeah, so if you were toying with the idea of whether you wanted to stay on the farm or not, that probably told you,
Sure.
yeah,
Maybe the first nail in that coffin, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't fun. I mean, I got out of chores for a while, I guess, but
Yeah.
that's not what I was, not how I would want to do it.
Yeah. So how did that shape just what was the biggest lesson you learned from that? How's that kind of shaped your view on the world or just things? Like, what did it teach you?
I mean, I knew it then, but just amazing how fast it happened. And to this day, I couldn't even tell you what happened. I mean, I meet with a lot of farmers now and like, well, what the heck were you thinking? You don't put your hand there. Well, I wasn't trying to put my hand. You just did it, and you
habit,
and by God, you were going to get the job done. And
yeah,
it's not like we were taught to be unsafe and to respect machines and all that stuff. And it just how fast, and that rolling mill doesn't care if it's corn or fingers or hands or whatever. It just is so fast. That was a big one.
Yeah, I feel like as farmers, you just, as you get around equipment, I mean, it's not that you don't respect it, but you're just not risk tolerance, but you just become numb. You just kind of become numb to just like, oh, that's a pretty small gap, but I still think I can wedge myself through there in the tractor. There's enough room there. I think I'll be all right. I'm not going to hit anything. And you do that enough, you're like that with everything. Oh, I'll climb the grain bin. I've climbed the grain bin so many times before, Yeah. You just become numb to taking that. And you have to, because you got to get the job done. But yeah, that's something that I just realized when I was younger. The more you would just do it, you'd just be like, oh, yeah, that's all right. I can do it. That's fine.
So we have a neighbor kid that lives over here at the housing development, and he helps us some. And and he's not, full disclosure, we have not put him in any dangerous situations at all. I mean, we do, but it's funny because my wife has said to me, like, there's different things that I've had him do. Oh, like he hadn't helped us very long, and I had him use the skid loader, and I told him, like, you ever run one of these? He's like, no. And so okay, well, hop in here, and hop in there, and you pull this and push this, and it turns, and you do that the other way, and this is the bucket, and this is whatever. And I let him go, and that night I went over, and my wife's like, did you let Jordan use the skid loader? And I said, yeah. And she's like, was he ever used one before? I'm like, no. And she's like, well, did you show him how everything works? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, how long? I go, what do you mean how long? And she's like, well, did you like have him watch you do it and then you do it and then have him do it? I said, no, I just set him in there and told him what to do. And then she's like, you can't treat him like he's your own kid. I kind of thought about that for a minute, and I think it's probably that way whether I don't think that's just farmers. I think that's probably anybody that's grown up in an industry. Like if you're somebody that grew up and you had a construction business or a dirt moving business or whatever, from generation to generation, there are a lot of assumptions that are made by parents to kids, and then those kids in turn, it's to your point. It's not that you are looking for danger or live dangerously. It's that you become so used to being around.
Well, and just doing stuff
Yeah.
that
you really don't think about it until that one split second decision that changes everything.
Totally. Right.
And then you look at it and you go, everybody around you is like, well, what were you doing? What the hell were you thinking?
Yeah.
Well, it's just hard.
Yeah.
Stick would have been a better idea in hindsight, which
Yeah.
as painfully obvious as it is.
Yeah.
That's just what we did, and that's what I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wrecked my four-wheeler when I was like, I think 12 years old. And same thing. I ruptured my spleen, had to go to the hospital, and I was there for a week and had to eat ice chips and stay in a bed for 5 days straight. And you're exactly right. It's split-second decision, and it just all of a sudden your four-wheeler's flipping, and you're like, it just happens so quickly. You know,
Yeah.
can't prepare for something like that. It's crazy, but it does totally change things for you. Life
No rewind.
is
There's no
fresh.
rewind ability.
Yeah. I
Right.
know. But so how did you become involved in Easter Seals? What did that experience make you want to get involved in what you're doing today?
Somewhat. So, I went through a rehabilitative process with occupational therapists, and I thought that was kind of cool. Maybe I could do some occupational therapy, and went to school for that, and knew I kind of wanted to help people. And one of my first jobs was I didn't like being in the hospital setting or rehab setting and being in a clinic all day. So I ended up working for this place that did some construction type work for persons who needed help. So putting in like wheelchair ramps or handrails to make things more accessible for them, grab bars in the bathrooms, selling medical equipment to make their lives easier. And on the side, because I was into golf, I worked at a country club in Madison, Wisconsin. The president of the country club happened to be on the board at Easter Seals. And one day he just walked up. He's like, what are you thinking? You grew up on a farm. You got a farm accident. You have had a farm accident. You have a background in occupational therapy. We're looking for a person in our farm program to go around to our farm program at Easter Seals to visit farmers, try to help them, try to make things easier. I think you'd be good at doing that. And next thing I know, I applied and met with my boss, who started taking me around on farms. And 18 years later, here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a wild story that way, but that's how the connection happened. I didn't truly seek to be involved in the ag industry again, but yeah.
Life works in funny ways.
Right.
So describe that program under Easter Seals. So Easter Seals is kind of like the overarching organization, but the program that you work with specifically is farm. And what does that mean for, and what's their scope?
Right. Your Easter Seals Wisconsin serves to help individuals with disabilities live fuller lives, more independence. Within that scope, we have the farm program. I manage the farm program. Our goal is to simply make it so farmers can do their work easier, less difficulty, and continue to be able to farm.
Okay.
We are part of a program called Agribility. So Agribility has two partners. We're the partner at Easter Seals that does the on-site farm work, and then we have University of Wisconsin Extension that does the outreach and marketing of our program. So they're the ones at Farm Tech Days and World Dairy Expo and things like that. So
Yep. So is Wisconsin, is it a unique program within Wisconsin, or is there other states that have the same thing?
Yep. So we serve all of Wisconsin. There are, I believe it's 22 other states throughout the country that also have a program similar to ours,
Okay.
an agri-ability project or something similar. Iowa has a program that does a nice job helping their farmers in the Iowa state.
What how do people? Well, first of all, you're probably working a little bit disadvantage because one, it's farmers, so they aren't very good at reaching out for help, whether they need it or not. And two, that's such a unique situation. So how do you connect with people? How do people come to you, I guess?
Yeah, farmers are incredibly private.
Yep.
They don't like asking for help, like you said. So we do a lot. Excuse me. We do a lot of marketing.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is huge. Excuse me. Sorry. So if a farmer received help from our program, he's our biggest ambassador, and telling a lot of other farmers and speaking about the help that he received and saying, hey, it's worth it to do that. So we reach a lot of people that way, just word of mouth. We've existed for about 30 years or so now.
Wow.
Helped about 3,500 farmers throughout the state of Wisconsin. So we have a big network of farmers that have helped us with our program. I have to name drop one name. Alan Kaltenberg is a gentleman in the Madison area. He lost his arm as a result of an accident as a young child. And he's on our board now. And he has a lot of connections within the agricultural industry and does a nice job marketing our program for us. So,
Yeah. Is there an incident or something that you guys, what's like the coolest story that you've ever been a part of, that was really just impactful and
yeah. A lot of them kind of blend together. One of the most recent ones, and he has a YouTube story about him. John Mitchell's his name. He lives in central Wisconsin. Recently met John, but talking about farm accident, he was chopping corn, and I believe the chopper had plugged or something to that effect, and he got out. And again, like if he had to do it over again, I'm sure he would do it much differently, obviously. But the corn head was running. He slipped on a corn stalk or something like that, and kind of the worst thing imaginable fell into the chopper head. And lucky to be alive, he would tell you that too. But as a result of the accident, he lost his right arm and partially amputated his left leg in the same accident. And he was by himself, and the thing's running, and his brother's bringing the load, and I'm sure he's counting the seconds to get there, or whatever. But he was stuck in there. I'll get it wrong here, but 20 or so minutes before his brother got there, holding on, and so all the med flight stuff, and the cut him out of there once they did find him, and he's a young guy. He's in his 40s. He's married with 2 little kids. Recently bought the property and is trying to make a go of it like everyone else. And when you have that type of accident, and he'll tell you like, where do you go from here? Like, am I gonna be able to farm again?
Yeah.
Am I gonna, what's my life gonna be like? So I met John. I think he had applied. His wife was doing a Google search, found our agency while he was in the hospital.
Yep.
He applied, which is very simple to do. And it really just starts with us doing an on-site kind of visit, like, hey, let's just meet you face to face, see what you got going on. And I was blown away by like his accident was like 6 months ago or something. And he already had a prosthesis for his arm. But, just his desire, he was going to do it. He was going to farm. He was going to figure out a way. But the main work chore piece on his beef farm was a skid steer.
Yep.
And as you know, you need 2 good arms, and often you need 2 good legs as well. And he didn't have either. So our work really works to find like a solution so he can do his work easier. And what we ended up doing was, short story here, we worked with a vendor in the nearby area that replumbed a skid steer. So rather than having the 2 arms, they replumbed the whole machine to be only on his left side.
Yep.
So he can drive it forward, backwards, turn it, twist it with just a left-hand joystick control.
Yep.
and then they put in electronic foot pedals for the bucket and boom, and he works it. Works beautifully for him. And he's a tough guy. He's doing his work, but just how emotional he was and what that meant for him.
Yeah, because I mean that's the difference between being independent and not being able to do squat.
Yeah. I joke that he probably drives the skid steer to church and stuff like that. I mean, it's just he'll use the word game changer. And for me, I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. I got to help him with that. And we have a lot of partnerships that help get that done, including the funding to do it. But I'm like, that was pretty cool. This guy's farming as a result of the work that I do and that our agency does. And so that was pretty neat. So that one sticks with me. Again, it was recent, so really, really proud of that one. There's a bunch of others, but he's one that sticks out, and he's going to be a huge ambassador for us. He's been on news stories, does it, like I said, did a YouTube story. He'll speak at any kind of event he can, so.
I would imagine, I don't know if there's statistics on this, but the silage chopper's got to be.
Yeah,
right I was gonna say when we were talking about doing this, if there's one company and they're defunct, they got bought by AGCO, but in our area, if there's one company that should be sponsoring this, it should be New Idea, because when I was a kid, lot more farms, lot smaller farms, and the number of guys that I knew growing up that had a uni picker that were missing a couple fingers from trying to grab, because you would be driving it and the conveyor came right up beside you and guys would stand up and there'd be an ear and they would try to, and it would catch them. Like, I don't know how many, I bet you when I think about that, I bet you I knew as a child, probably 4 or 5 people in the Washington County area that all had that same injury. And my dad would be like, well, yeah, unit picker. So, but I that is just by nature a dangerous business. The silage choppers are.
Right. A lot of the farmers that we work with are older. So back when they were picking corn was more of a thing. I see a lot of farmers who are missing a digit or two, and just like I said earlier, it doesn't care.
No, it doesn't. That's the thing.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask you. What do you think is the most common incident that happens, just to spread awareness to farmers today, that are out there? Like, be mindful when you're doing this, because this is the most common thing.
Yeah, it feels like I've seen them all, but climbing grain bins, climbing silos, sticks out a couple gentlemen just I can think of just who had slipped and fell off a grain bin, and fractures or multiple fractures, things like that, really bad type accidents. But climbing type things, just for some reason sticks out. Not that I see them a lot, but a lot of skid steer accidents, in terms of backing up and not having a backup camera and or mirror and assuming it's going to be okay. In terms of just accidents you read about. Falls are another big one, getting on and off skid steers, because there are front loaded front entry skid steer where they slip on a bucket where it's snow covered or ice covered or manure covered, and the steel bucket doesn't there's not a lot of give to that.
And it's, I mean, I don't know how many times have you, I mean, you have a lot further to fall than I do, but I don't know how many times getting in and out of a skid loader is, I don't know how many times I've almost fallen. I think I have fallen a couple of times, but it's been in the snow.
Pigs aren't forgiven either.
Pigs aren't forgiven either. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You talk about how, I think anybody that's involved in ag or in any business where you're working with large equipment or you're doing any kind of construction, I mean, life can change on a dime. And I've told this story about, we were loading hogs a couple of years ago, and I've never gotten knocked like off my feet like I did in that instant. And I was at the top of the ramp going up into a pot, and a pig turned, and when they look at you, I always say that's the thing about when you're loading pigs, they look at you. They don't look at you. But if you ever get a pig that turns and he looks at you, you're in trouble because that pig has decided that he's not going. And that pig turned and hit me, and I flew off the top of and literally, it was one of those deals where as I was falling, I said to myself, I wonder if I'm going to be able to feel my feet. Because you're going to hit, everything's frozen, it's an aluminum trailer. And when I hit, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to be good. But I was okay, other than 2 days later, I felt like I couldn't walk. But that's a perfect situation where that could have ended a completely different way. And you just don't know. Mm-hmm. You just don't know what could happen.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, so for a specific person that has a farm accident, where do you guys get involved? Is it on that side? So they go through, have the accident, go to the hospital. If they need a prosthetic, they go do that on their own. And then you're just figuring out a way to, when they get that prosthetic or whatever, you're figuring out a way and a strategy to help them be able to farm again, essentially.
Right, essentially. Yep. And it really just starts with them ultimately just reaching out to us. And most often they get to the point where like, all right, this is not working very well here, or I'm really I got to decide, am I going to keep doing this? Or, accept some help, or have someone come. They're really appreciative of just a person willing to come to their farm and really kind of give a damn, more or less, and hear their story and seeing what they're going through, and having a new set of eyes on it. And I don't know everything about ag and farms and stuff like that, but just I've been on enough to know what's worked for some persons and recommend some solutions. It doesn't always need to be a person that's had an accident. Maybe they milk cows in a barn and their knees are bad and they've had a multiple amount of joint replacement surgeries, or their back is bad, and they just want to figure out a way to make it easier. And to make, as changes on a farm too, it's expensive. So what are some possibilities for funding to help put that stuff into place for them, so they can work easier? But it really just kind of starts there with them making the call. Usually we can get out within shortly week or so and visit them.
So speaking of funding, because obviously it's not cheap, and I would guess that as the size of equipment increases and the complexity of equipment increases, the cost of making things accessible is more expensive. Where do you guys find funding?
We work with vocational rehabilitation in our state, who's a good supporter of ours, and advocate for the farmer to receive help. They work with persons with disabilities, help them be able to continue their job, whether it's farming, whether it's manufacturing, all types of job types. And so that's who we get a lot of our funding from.
So is that all donations? Is there grants that they get? I mean, how?
They get federal funding to do the work that they do, and I don't know the number, but it's a fair amount to put things in place for persons to work easier.
So is it is it getting with the event of where we're headed in ag, as far as how the equipment is made and the size of the equipment and the complexity? Does that make your job harder, or is it pretty consistent?
Like most farmers, when I see an estimate on what things cost, there's a little bit of a fall out of my chair kind of things. But most of the persons where I work are kind of single family farms, so it's toned down, maybe, if you will, and compared to some of the big type equipment costs. But putting like rubber mats on a walkway, so they're standing on have some cushion versus on the concrete. Things like that are not deal breaker type costs, but it is more complex. It's really individualized. So whatever the person needs, whether it's $10,000 or the example I gave where we plumbed the skid steer, he traded in his, it was still $60,000, and that's kind of our ballpark of what it cost.
Yeah. As ag has changed, has it made what you guys do harder? How have you seen it change as you've been there for, you said 13 years or 17 years?
18 years.
18 years.
18 years. When I first started, I worked with a lot of farmers milking cows in a stanchion barn.
Yep.
I don't see too many of anymore. I- Having said that, I'm a little surprised how some people live. Yeah, I met with a farmer a couple weeks ago that was still milking in a stanchion barn. He was milking with buckets. He didn't even have the automation, and that's just how he did it. And he was, they made a go of it, and lived off the farm and had a garden and all that other stuff. And
that's a rarity today.
yeah. So, well, yeah, less stanchion barn milking. Just driving through Wisconsin, whatever. A lot of large dairy facilities and a lot of bigger facilities that we don't maybe work with as much as we could. But
do you get any situations where you have, because obviously as farms have grown now than today, we have a lot more situations to where it might be a family farm, but they may have a lot of people working for them that are employees. Do you get into situations where you have somebody that has an employee that has an accident, and then they're actually they want to modify their workspace to accommodate that person?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Work with a number of employees who have had an accident or have some sort of disability, and the farm owner just wants to make it easier for them. I mean, they're part of the family too, and a lot of situations like, hey, cool, thanks for they're thankful for the advice and the thoughts and the recommendation on what to do, and they'll just take care of it on their own. Most are the owner operator that we're working with, but yeah, certainly some employees as well.
So are you going out there and meeting with farmers yourself, or do you guys have people, I guess, have reps go out there and do that? Because I just think about and talking about that, are there a lot of the people that do go out to these farms, are they like the ambassadors you're talking about, where they went through something similar like you did? Because I'm sure when you talk to a farmer, they receive it a whole different way because you've been through something like that versus somebody that has no idea what that's like, Right.
Yeah, my farm accident gives me a level of street credit.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've met a number of farmers who have had the exact same thing happen with a roller mill, and their hand looks very similar to mine. But all of our staff that visit the farms are in-house. They're employees of Easter Seals. We have a mighty, mighty staff of 4. So we realize how big the state of Wisconsin is, and we've worked with farmers in all 72 counties, and been from one end to the other to visit the farms. But our ambassadors are really just kind of marketing our program. If they, through their course of their work, encounter a farmer that could benefit from our help, they're just referring them to us. But we do the actual visits ourselves, like I said.
Is that program, the farm program, is that unique, or does Easter Seals or does other organizations, do they do this same thing within the construction world or the carpentry world? I mean, is there other, because obviously it's not the only industry that has issues like this, although it is a little different in the fact that in the past anyway, it's not as much today, but much more family-based or small operator-based versus other industries. But I didn't know if it was unique to only farm or not.
It's unique to farm. I'm not aware of anything within the construction field and things like that. Certainly, like you said, a number of accidents happen there too. But with agribility and our Easter Seals farm program is very unique, I think, to farms, and so.
With the political environment that we're in, I guess I shouldn't even say political environment, just the financial environment we're in. Everything is tight, and I know this. In fact, I just had this conversation the other day. I think that nonprofits, just a lot of organizations, even like churches, there was a time where you had a lot of people that when someone in the family, when the father died or when the family passed on, there was a lot of money that was left to charitable organizations. But today, with the cost of nursing home care, retirement home care, the cost of medical care, and older people not staying, like our society, we don't build grandma and grandpa houses like we used to. Like your mom and dad don't live in the backyard anymore, like,
Right.
you know, for my parents' generation. So as a result, a lot of wealth that used to go to charitable organizations when somebody passed, there is nothing to donate because it all gets spent on medical care and retirement home care. Do you see that affecting like Easter seals? Is it harder today to self-fund or fundraise and get, are donations harder to come by today than what they were? And I don't know if you can speak on that or not.
It's always been
Yeah.
hard, honestly, for our program. I joke with our president and CEO when I go into a budget meeting. We do an annual review. I'm like, I just would love to come into this meeting and be like, you know what, money's good. We don't have it, and we would welcome if someone had 10, 5, 1, 100 million to give us, and we would, you know, just we would fund the adaptive kind of equipment that farmers need ourselves, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
It's always a thing. Maybe more so now.
Yeah.
Than what it used to be. We're grateful to receive some funds from a foundation for our staff time to do the visits and the travel and things like that. But it's it goes quickly, and every year we're looking to
you just have to deal with what you've got and do the best you can.
Right.
Do you have? Go ahead.
I was gonna say how to, you know, like for farmers listening, because you know we have a lot of farmers listening to this podcast. They might have a dad, they might have a brother, they might have an employee on the farm that has had something that's been bothering them. How do they reach out to you? And maybe they don't live in Wisconsin, but how do they get going on this and figuring something out?
Yeah, there is a national agribility website. If you Google national agribility, that'll take you to it. But it's housed in Purdue University in Indiana. And they have a link to every state contact. And really that's the best place to start, and call that number and get routed to. And typically it's an outreach person that can just take down information. Often it's a very short phone call, and that's probably the best way to get help. And in our state, we have our outreach person is at the University of Wisconsin. And if I can give the number, it's 608-262-9336. They call that person. It's a 5-minute kind of all call. And often it's just like, I don't know what you guys can do or what helps out there for me, but all you have to lose is time, right? In terms of, it can be a 1-hour visit, 2-hour visit. Often we get out there and it's tough to get away, but that's really just the best place to start. And
So do you have anything either on the farm program or Easter seals that is something that you're doing, goals that you want to do that you can't do today that you're working towards, or anything new that you want to talk about?
I mean, we have our hands full, really just serving the farmers and doing the work to make their jobs easier. I'm going to think of a great idea on the way home now, but
no, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Things like that. There's always something new to learn. And that's really where our focus is. We working a little bit more with veteran farmers who are looking to get more in the egg industry. Certainly farms that I'm not as familiar with, like who are growing mushrooms or microgreens and things like that. We're seeing more of. So really just getting more knowledgeable about that and how we can help those persons more.
So if people want to get involved and help, how can they get involved and help? Fundraising wise, or just, their time, or how can they help?
We have a development person at Easter Seals, Wisconsin, and she would welcome a call and welcome anyone that wanted to help fundraising or donation, because we could certainly use it. As we talked about earlier, the cost to do the work for staff time and travel and things alone adds up. So that's really just contacted through our website. Again, eastersaleswisconsin.com has a link to our development person, and there's a donate button even that they can just click to donate.
Are you guys connected at all, or have you had any interaction with, and I would assume that they operate in Wisconsin, but Farm Rescue, do you ever get involved in any situations where they've had to go in and help somebody, and then the aftermath of that is trying to...
I'm familiar with Farm Rescue. We had an opportunity to meet with them. They're fairly new to Wisconsin.
They are.
Yep, fairly new to Wisconsin. So I haven't had a situation where farmers worked with Farm Rescue and then we've come in, but certainly aware of them. A lot of other agencies, National Farm Medicine Center, who's been a great partner for us, Wisconsin Farm Center as well, who provides financial counseling, mediation, succession planning, all that sort of thing that we just encounter just as way of being boots on the ground and meeting with farmers.
Yeah. So you've worked with them now for 18 years. When you started out, were you working alone, or was there always been a group of people? Like, were you the lone cowboy in this deal?
Thank goodness, no.
Yeah.
My boss at the time, who's now our CEO, was there, and he had been there for a number of years and really started the program. But we've always had, again, a mighty staff of 2 to 4 people to do this work. And I never thought I'd be doing this 18 years later. But like I said earlier, I get calls from farmers that I worked with 18 years ago every Christmas, just thanking me for the work that I did and just doing my job, right?
Yeah.
But and just talking about how much it meant to them to keep farming and how much they appreciate it. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. I mean, do you love your job? Do you feel like, I feel like that'd be a pretty fulfilling endeavor to be a part of.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, it's awesome. The end result is awesome. The gentleman I mentioned earlier with this kid, I live for that. It's awesome to see the final result. You know, the initial meeting, and it can be heavy for.
Yeah, it's always heavy, hard stories.
Yeah, I remember a guy who had just beautiful grain and cattle farm up in northwest Wisconsin. He was one of the first persons I saw as well, and he was doing something with a roof, only 10 feet or so off the ground, and slipped and fell and had a spinal cord injury. So like that, he can't walk, right? And how heavy that first meeting was. I won't say I enjoy that, because it's hard. It's an art to go in and meet people like that and just try to like, hey, look, there's hope, and it's a process and stuff. But the end result, I live for that. It's awesome. And he's one of those guys that's still farming today, and has a beautiful farm at that. And without that type of help, I don't know what he would have did. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. You kind of blended your two worlds together. Where you came from and what you ultimately wanted to do. I bet it's a whole lot better than. Yeah, like you said, being in a clinic all day, that would get old.
Right. It's too big a change from farming. And
So. Yeah, I'm sure that was, being outside and being a farmer growing up, I'm sure you were like, this part I like, doing all the milking, I could go do something else, but I like being out. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. What's a message you would want to get out to farmers listening? If there's anything that you'd want farmers to hear or be aware of or whatever, if you had to think.
Speaking mostly to the farmers in Wisconsin, really, it's just like there's a great deal of persons who have had accidents, who have some sort of medical limitation that could really benefit from our service. And there's really nothing to lose in terms of applying. Again, it's free. It's, so just really want them to take advantage of it and give our program a try and enroll and just use the resource, I guess, is the biggest thing that I would hope for. I was also had like farmers, they don't talk like I have a disability, they could be missing both their legs and like, well, I'm just missing my both legs. I'm not disabled or whatever. They're they're going to get it done. And no matter what. So really just for anyone who's, struggling, doesn't need to be a traumatic accident. It could be a medical condition. It could be years of wear and tear on their body that could benefit from some help, is just to take advantage of our service.
Yeah. Don't be too prideful. Just just say you need help.
Accept help. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's a problem with farmers. They don't even ask for help in their own family.
Yeah.
They don't want to rely on other people. But
they're afraid of the confidentiality part, and we're all.
Yep.
I mean, about their neighbors finding out that they got help. I don't know. So
Yeah, well, they just have a. I don't know. That's a weird. And I mean, I think the older I get, probably the more I get that way. And one time, when my dad was very old, he was in his 90s. He called me, and I was on my way back from Missouri, and the lid blew off this bin that's right out this door, or came off, and he calls me, and it was like in November, drizzly. It wasn't snow. There wasn't snow, but it was crappy. And he said, "Hey, that lid blew off that bin." And I said, "Well, I'm probably not going to be back until like 5:30, 6 o'clock, but I'll swing by, put it back on." And I get back here, and it's dark. And it was probably about 6:30 that night. I drive over here. I get out, and I could tell the lid was on. It was on the bin. And so I go over to the house, and he was in there. Actually, he was asleep in his chair, and I woke him up, and I said, "The lid's on the bin." He's, "Oh, yeah, I know. I put it back on." And I said to him, "Well, now what in the hell did you do that for?" I said, what would have happened if you would have fallen off that bin? And this is a bin without stairs. It's a ladder, old
sure.
bin, And he just looks at me, and he goes, "Well, I probably would have been dead. But what if you fell off the bin?" I thought about it, and I thought, well, if one of us is going to fall off the bin, it should probably be me, because you don't need me to keep this going. But I sure need you, so I just decided I'd crawl up there and put the lid on. That is your typical farmer right there. And you can't argue with him. I just looked at him and said, "Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow."
Yeah.
But
they're going to get it done no matter what. If they got to crawl to the barn or
that's right,
or whatever. Right?
Yeah. I'll ask you. This is just kind of an off-the-wall personal question, though. So I don't know how old you are. I imagine you're in your 40s. That'd be right.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, I'm 54, and you've been at this job for 18 years. And this is something that I've just noticed, and I'm curious because I ask people this question. Do you find yourself now at the age where people ask you questions and they expect that you somehow have wisdom that you don't feel like you should have, but you're getting to that age where everybody just assumes that you should have the answer?
I don't know. Sometimes I get.
Yeah. That's a phenomenon that is just kind of started with me, and I just think it's so funny because I don't feel like I'm old enough to have that air quotes wisdom, but it's just like I think you just get to an age where there's enough people younger than you that they just, "Oh, well, Jeff will know. We'll ask Jeff," or whoever it is. Yeah. I think that's just all part of getting older. So
in terms of being just in one job for that long, you've kind of encountered enough that you just kind of start knowing some stuff. I don't know. I don't know about
winging it will get you a long ways.
Yeah, right. And, I've come a long ways in 18 years. I remember talking about lift to get a gentleman into a tractor. Maybe he has an IVT type tractor. So once he's there, he's fine. But climbing steps is just not possible for him.
Yeah.
So I could tell you everything about all the different types of lift designs out there and how they work and things like that. So you just accumulate knowledge, right?
Yep.
Who's had the biggest impact on your life, positively or negatively, when you think about mentors or family?
In terms of this job, my boss, like I said, he's currently our CEO, and he's seen a lot in terms of farmers and has taught me a lot in terms of how to, you're just walking onto a farm, never met the guy before. You don't know if he's going to kick you off, whatever, or you're going to be able to be. He's going to think you're helpful or not, but it's an art. So he's taught me a lot about how to kind of handle that and things like that. In terms of life. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably, my dad, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, he passed away a few years ago, and he bought the farm in the 1980s when bought it from his dad, my grandfather.
Yep.
Interest rate wasn't that awesome then.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
And how hard he worked,
Yep.
is amazing. I think probably all people who grew up on a farm have a certain amount of work ethic, and I'm probably no different in that regard. And same with my siblings; they all are hard workers as a result.
Yep.
But he taught me a lot about work, and some things that he just, I don't know, all the fencing and all the baling of hay and fixing equipment and the get her done, if you will, attitude. And no matter what, he was going to farm, and how much the farm meant for him. And that's certainly been helpful in having some empathy for this job, meaning going to a farm and realizing how much that farm, and that's who they are,
I mean, it's their identity.
It's their
in
identity.
A lot of good and bad. That is a good thing until it's a bad thing sometimes. And
Right.
I know that firsthand. I've only got one other question I'll ask you. So when you think back, if you could give a 16-year-old yourself advice, maybe looking forward, when you think back there, what would you tell what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Yeah. Oh, well, slow down.
Yeah.
Do it the safe way, knowing now what I wish I knew then.
Yeah.
In terms of on the farm, appreciate it. It's the grass isn't always greener in off the farm job and things like that. It's really a pretty cool childhood. And
Yep.
Do you miss the farm at all?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
big time. Yep.
Would you, like, if you had the chance to farm today, would you do it? You
Yes. Yep.
think? 100%.
Yep. So we moved.
Well, good. You got your checkbook. We could probably work out at lease to own deal today. Like, hog business is excellent, and it's only getting better.
Is that right?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The home farm, like I said, we rented out, and that's part of me. And I wish I could farm it. We moved a few hours to central part of Wisconsin for this job, and relation to all the travel and things like that. And I talk to my wife about it all the time, like, oh, let's go back. Well, and she's like, you're nuts. She didn't grow up on a farm like that.
Right.
Yeah. She's the cattle are all beautiful to look at and stuff until they get out or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's, so.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 3 years now, this podcast, and you'd be amazed at the amount of people that grew up on a farm, thought that they never would want to farm again, want to go out and see the world, do their thing, but then they get older and they go, gosh, if I could go back and if I could just farm again. It's like a bug that stings you, I feel like. There's so many people that are like that, and the sad part is it's just getting harder to farm. It's harder to keep it intact and keep passing it on, and that's sad. It sucks, but you're not alone in that. There's a lot of people that we hear from all the time that there's so many people that listen to the show that grew up farmers, but this is like their tie back to the farm life a little bit. They don't farm today, but this is it's like childhood times again. So anyway,
For me too, right? Absolutely. This is how I can still participate in the ag industry and be involved. And I wouldn't make a very, very good farmer myself. Just the cost and the stress and the animal sickness and things like that would just stress me out. And but this is a way that I can be involved.
Yeah,
and
But-
help others.
The moral of the story to Tork and Sawyer is, quit your bitching.
yeah.
Be thankful for
Yeah.
what you got.
Well, I think that's the story for a lot of people is it could always be harder, and slow down, and there's help out there. I think don't be too prideful to get help. So one last thing again, I just want you to say it because we're going to get to the end of the show here. How can people find you guys, and how can they get involved? Just say it one more time for people so that
Give us
get
the
in there.
website and
Yeah.
the phone number.
Yeah.
So you can contact us at Easter Seals, Wisconsin. There's a farm program link, eastersealswisconsin.com. The farm program link has a way to contact us either via website or the contact phone number. You can also contact us through Agribility of Wisconsin. The phone number is 608-262-9336.
Jeff, we really appreciate you making the trip. This was great. I really appreciate it. I think people got a lot of value, and I think this is going to help a lot of people. So we really appreciate the work that you do.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Guys, it's going to wrap it up. If you got any value, share the show. Leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We love you guys. We appreciate you. And we'll see you back here next week for another episode.